here we are at Blues Creek Guitars. Here's the new bending video. We're doing Sycamore, and you can see it's got a real pretty grain to it. Now Sycamore is not a difficult wood to work with, and I'm just putting together my typical sandwich, as you have seen me do many times before. So Windex, wet paper, wood, wet paper, slat, blanket. So here we go. This is going into the bender. So it's just a typical bending process like I always do. We're going to start bending very shortly once the temperatures come up. I'm going to do something here that you haven't seen before. I'm going to be using slats that are kind of crinkled up, and you'll be able to see that a little bit. Now, sometimes things will happen and you'll have a set and you want to know how you can work with it. The only thing that I'll do differently when I do this, I'll put some weight on here, and you can see I'm using a spring clamp, and then that's hanging that down. And the purpose is to keep the slat and the blanket in contact. Now some people will say put the blanket on the bottom, but the problem with putting the blanket on the bottom, aside from wear, is you're locking the heat in there. We gotta let the heat get where it needs to go, but we also need it to dissipate when it's done. So I'm working right now with the heat, and we're waiting for it to get to bending temp. Okay, now the temperature's starting to come up. I can feel the heat coming in underneath here. The weight is actually doing the bending for me, so you can see how this is letting it droop down, which is actually a good thing, so you know when to bend. Sycamore is pretty simple. It's not a very complicated wood to bend. Kind of pretty looking. This happens to be for a classical guitar. It's nothing I'm building, it's something that my customer is building. And the temperature right now is sitting at 225 degrees, going to 230. There goes the waist just a little bit. And now I'm going to wait for the upper bout. Now the upper bout, the temperature is coming up. I can actually want to check this right now. I'm going to take a look and see how hot we are. I can feel the heat, but I can also tell you that it is drying out. Pardon me. So I'm going to shoot this with just a little bit of water. I don't want it so wet that I'm cooking it. I just want to create a little bit of steam. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear it sizzling. Underneath here I can feel that it's pretty hot. And I just don't slam it. You can see how I walk it through. So this is a nice set of Sycamore. It is now 290 degrees, and at this point I will turn it to variable. Let it finish on the 15-minute cycle. And here's a piece of the Sycamore that I will be bending. And you can see that I have it marked so I don't get it messed up. Pretty wood. So in summation, the bending started basically at the 220, 240 range, and I took it up to about 280. I actually took the temperatures up a little higher to about 300. This is part of the maple family, so I wanted to make sure I got it dried because they can keep bending. So wet paper between the slats, between the wood, so you can see how that went together. This is an issue with Sycamore, but that will come right down and you can close that up. Call that potato chipping. Minor. I think the guy salvaged this tree out of his yard. So that's how you do it. From my shop to yours, stay well.